At Golgotha, as Jesus was crucified, the world saw only agony. But as darkness shrouded the cross, an unseen battle raged. Two mighty archangels, Michael and Uriel, confronted Lucifer himself. Their actions made the Prince of Darkness tremble. The sun grew dim. The sky turned a heavy, leaden gray. On Golgotha's hill that day, the air hung heavy. It carried more than dust and the crowd's jeers. It choked with despair. A pain pierced not just the crucified man, but creation itself. Each breath was a struggle. Every hammer strike drove nails deep, not just into flesh, but into the souls of those watching. It felt like the end of all light, hope, faith, even time itself. People stared at the three crosses. Their eyes showed pure horror, mixed with utter helplessness. The earth itself trembled. It seemed to shake off an unbearable weight. Rocks split open. The temple veil ripped. This was no ordinary earthquake. It was the cosmos reacting, a response to the greatest tragedy and the greatest sacrifice. Every breath, every groan from Jesus echoed. It resonated in the hearts of those who stayed, weeping at the cross's foot. But beyond this visible tragedy, beyond human sorrow and worldly noise, something grander unfolded. This was more than just a life ending, more than an execution. This was a cosmic turning point. The fate of humanity, of the universe, was being decided. In this crushing darkness, evil seemed victorious. But an unseen battle was brewing. A battle untold in earthly history. Yet it determined everything that came after. What did people feel, witnessing such despair? They never suspected the unseen battle. Share your thoughts in the comments below. We focused on the suffering on the cross. But what if, as darkness engulfed the world, more than just observers hovered above Golgotha? What if heaven's mightiest warriors were already there? And why would their presence make Lucifer himself tremble? Heaven is not silent. Beyond our world, where life thrives, are beings whose names make even demons tremble. Archangels Michael and Uriel are more than angels. They are heavenly generals. Their history is filled with epic battles. Michael, whose name means "who is like God," is no mere warrior. He commands heaven's armies. Wielding a fiery sword, he guards justice. He led the angels against Lucifer during the rebellion. His strength crushed the fallen angel's pride. Michael's presence shields the righteous. It punishes evil. Beside him stands Archangel Uriel. His name means light of God. Uriel embodies wisdom and divine foresight. He lights the path. He brings knowledge. He warns of things to come. His flame does not destroy, but purifies. It penetrates the world's darkest corners. Uriel often delivers vital prophecies. He reveals divine plans. These two angels embody strength and wisdom. They have always stood against darkness and chaos. Their power forced Lucifer, once the most beautiful angel, to retreat. If the Prince of Darkness fears them, imagine their true might. Why were these heavenly warriors at the cross at that crucial hour? It was no coincidence. Their presence was part of a much deeper plan. The darkness over Golgotha was more than a metaphor. Lucifer himself stood there, convinced of his ultimate victory. But he never knew his triumph would become his worst defeat. It was foreshadowed by an unseen power. At Golgotha, amidst groans and cries, another presence hovered, an unseen entity, not flesh, but pure, icy evil. It was Lucifer himself. He wasn't just watching, he was savoring the climax of his 1,000-year plan. His shadow, cold and all-consuming, enveloped the hill. It foretold an eternal reign of darkness. Each hammer blow, each gasping breath from the dying Christ was music to him, the music of victory. He saw not God's Son, but a defeated foe, one who dared challenge his power. There hung the King of Kings, weakened, humiliated on a cross. For Lucifer, this was triumph. He believed he had broken God's will. He proved his own righteousness. Now, he thought, no one could oppose him. His silent, eerie laughter should have echoed through all dimensions. If God was so weak, allowing his Son this death, what hope remained for anyone else? This moment, he thought, would seal evil's eternal victory. He stood in arrogant confidence, unaware. His jubilation was just a moment before a stunning defeat. Christ's seeming weakness was actually his greatest strength. Beside him, in the shadows, forces waited. Forces ready to turn his triumph to dust. If you're interested in deep stories where the unseen becomes clear, subscribe to Mysteries of the Spirit for more revelations. We've just unveiled the presence of evil, but this is only the beginning. Now, let's see how this unseen battle fully unfolded. The moment Jesus breathed his last and Lucifer celebrated at the cross, an invisible war erupted on Golgotha. No one saw heavenly forces clash with the Prince of Darkness. What happened in this cosmic battle determined all creation's fate. Jesus' suffering on the cross was not merely physical. It was the focal point of a cosmic dispute, one that began long before humanity's creation. Lucifer, once a shining angel, rebelled against God. He craved power and worship. His fall fractured the heavens. Now, on Golgotha, he saw his chance for ultimate victory. God seemed defeated. His Son was crucified. His plan for salvation was threatened. Lucifer, with his army of the fallen, reveled in triumph. He believed humanity was doomed. His power over the world would be absolute. This was not merely a fight for human souls. It was a battle for creation itself, a fight to decide who would rule, love or pride, light or darkness. As the earth trembled and the temple veil ripped, unseen legions met. Light and darkness faced off in silent confrontation. No human saw these clashes, but the stakes were impossibly high. If Lucifer had broken Christ's spirit, if his sacrifice proved futile, all human history would collapse. God's entire plan would crumble. It was the final desperate roll of the dice. In this chaos, in this unseen war, Michael and Uriel played a key role. At the peak of Lucifer's triumph, 1,000 years of struggle seemed to end in his victory. Only a single moment separated the world from eternal darkness. But 99% don't know this. Archangel Michael then drew his sword. His presence at the cross in those critical seconds determined the future of all creation. In that darkest hour, all seemed lost. Lucifer already anticipated his eternal victory. Then an unseen yet palpable force appeared. It was Archangel Michael. His presence at the cross was no mere observation. It was an act. Michael, whose name alone thundered terror into demons, stood guard. His fiery sword, a symbol of divine justice, was not raised to strike the fallen. His role was subtler, yet just as vital. He was a shield for Christ's soul, for his sacrifice, for the entire plan of salvation. He kept the forces of darkness from defiling that holy moment, from twisting it into something unintended. Every groan from Jesus, every drop of blood was priceless. Michael, a faithful warrior, guarded this priceless sacrifice. He prevented Lucifer and his minions from distorting this act, from tainting it with their poison of despair. His presence was a silent yet powerful omen. It signaled that this seeming surrender was not an end, but a beginning. The beginning of Lucifer's end. Even in this moment of deepest pain, God's will stood firm, protected by the Archangel's sword. This very protection instilled terror into the Prince of Darkness. We've journeyed halfway, revealing this unseen protection. But what Archangel Uriel did next reveals the true scale of this cosmic battle. We've seen Michael protect the sacrifice, but if you leave now, you'll miss the crucial part. Why Lucifer, convinced of his victory, suddenly felt chilling terror from Uriel's presence. Just as Lucifer felt certain darkness would consume all, a flame ignited above Golgotha. It didn't burn, it revealed. It was Archangel Uriel. His light pierced deep into the Prince of Darkness's soul. Lucifer felt his icy confidence shatter. Panicked horror seized his heart. As Michael held his unseen shield, another heavenly weapon ignited beside him. Archangel Uriel's flame. This was no flesh-burning fire. It was the light of truth. It pierced the darkness, exposing every deception. Uriel, the bearer of God's light, came to Golgotha. He came to illuminate the greatest event in history. His flame illuminated Christ's suffering. More, it revealed the true meaning of his sacrifice. It showed that death on the cross was no defeat. It was the dawn of eternal victory. For Lucifer, this light was unbearable. It exposed every one of his lies, every attempt to distort the divine plan. The darkness where Lucifer felt so secure began to dissipate. Uriel didn't just shine. He was a herald of judgment. His presence meant Lucifer's time was up. His seeming victory was, in fact, his ultimate defeat. Uriel's flame became the harbinger of a coming judgment, a judgment about to fall on the Prince of Darkness. It showed Lucifer his triumph was a momentary illusion. His power would crumble. Christ's sacrifice would open a path to salvation, not destruction. This light was his verdict. History speaks of Lucifer's triumph at the cross, but one detail is almost never mentioned: the inexplicable horror. The horror that forced him to flee. This is not what the forces of darkness want you to know. Lucifer stood at the cross, inhaling death and triumph. He felt sure this was his hour. He saw only a defeated Messiah, the end of God's plan. But then, through the shroud of darkness, he felt a presence. Michael's unseen shield kept him from defiling the great sacrifice, and Uriel's piercing flame, the light of truth, began to burn his illusions. It revealed a terrible truth. Suddenly, Lucifer realized this was no defeat for God. This was his greatest plan, a plan the Prince of Darkness had vainly tried to destroy for millennia. Christ's death was not the end, but the beginning of humanity's salvation, the destruction of his own power over sin and death. His triumph was a mirage. It crumbled before his eyes. Horror seized him, not from a physical blow, but from realizing his own powerlessness. He, who thought he had won, suddenly understood. He was merely a tool in a far grander design. Michael and Uriel did not attack him directly, yet they were there. Their unwavering loyalty to God's will, their light, their protection, all showed Lucifer his true place. He was defeated, not in battle, but in the very design of things. His kingdom was collapsing. The darkness he boasted of receded. It proved powerless before the light of truth. Lucifer, trembling, recoiled from the cross. His jubilation turned to panic. He realized he had lost forever. This was just a foretaste of the judgment to come. He fled, struck by a horror he would never forget. We've witnessed Lucifer's horror. Now grasp the eternal victory. The unseen battle at the cross achieved it. Wait, we saw Lucifer flee in horror from the cross. But before we end, understand this. That single moment changed more than the Prince of Darkness's fate. It forever overturned all creation. You need to know how. The echoes of Golgotha didn't fade with Jesus' last breath. What happened there became an eternal victory. Its echoes resonate even now. The battle no one saw ended. It was a triumph of light over darkness. Lucifer, who thought he broke God's will, was trapped by his own arrogance. Michael and Uriel's presence at the cross was no mere observation. It was active participation. They were part of a pivotal moment. Michael, with his unseen shield, protected the sacrifice's sanctity. He kept the forces of darkness from defiling it, from turning it into a symbol of despair. He preserved the plan's purity. And Uriel's flame? It carried the light of truth. It pierced the very essence of Lucifer's lie. It showed the Prince of Darkness his seeming victory was actually his greatest defeat. Christ's death was not the end. It was the beginning of a new path. A path to salvation for all who believe. This unseen cosmic dispute at the cross concluded. Victory wasn't won by strength or pride. It was won by love and sacrifice. Lucifer, trembling with terror, was forced to retreat. He realized his power was broken. He lost his greatest gamble. Humanity, seemingly doomed to eternal darkness, received hope. This is the echo of Golgotha. It resonates through the ages, reminding us, even in the darkest hour, when evil seems to triumph, unseen forces stand guard. True victory always belongs to the light. To delve deeper into hidden mysteries and never miss new revelations, subscribe to Mysteries of the Spirit. If this story moved you, hit the like button. It helps share these insights with more people.